And welcome back to the 52-week illustration challenge. We are already in week 28 with the prompt for climate change. This one was the first one in a very long time that I had an idea pretty much instantly. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. If you guys remember back from one of my earlier prompts, I did one where there was actually a nuclear winter and the kids were playing out in the snow basically from the nuclear winter because there's no sun and it's always snowing or ash, whatever you want to call it. And I was just inspired by that same idea now for this one. Thinking of climate change, this is actually my character from my children's book that I wrote called Topy. Topaz Tipton is her name, and yeah, she lives here in Finland. She's a little girl, and she loves winter. She loves snow. It's the best part of her life is when, winter rolls around and there's going to be thick, fluffy white snow falling everywhere. But in my story that I actually wrote, which I'm going to be putting up on Amazon, hopefully fairly soon, she had a winter where her cousin, Amber, was supposed to come visit, and it was the first winter in a long time where there was no snow, only rain. And so basically, the story that I wrote hints back to climate change and, how that affects our world. So for Topy, she had gotten used to having snow every winter. And then suddenly, on the winter when it counts the most, when her cousin's coming to visit from South Africa, there's no snow. And the cousin had never seen snow before, and Topy is so excited, as little kids tend to be, about snow and showing it off to the cousin that has never seen it. So I love that little story, and I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of the character of Topy. She took some development over several years, and I'm very happy with how she turned out. So now this piece is actually a mixed media piece. So I'm starting out here with painting the background with watercolors with my White Nights palette, my favorite palette, and then I'm going to move on after I'm done with the background here and use my Promarkers, Winsor Newton Promarkers, and yeah, that's what I use basically to do Topy's character. I use this mixed media effect, which I basically was experimenting with a while back when I started to draw Topy, because when I painted her, it just didn't look as nice. And then I was very into markers at that point in time when I started doing her story. So I would paint the background because markers just made that streaky effect in the background, which I did not like. But since the character is quite condensed and small, it didn't make as many streaks when I was coloring her in. So the markers were fine for her, and it gave that vibrant pop of color that I was looking for. So the background would be watercolor to give a very soft effect, and then she would be the bold markers to basically make her stand out. And in this one, for the prompt, it was just the perfect fit. Topy, of course, already is experiencing climate change in her own story, so I thought I'd bring her in here. The only thing that I didn't put in here, which I'm kind of kicking myself now that I'm looking at it, are her two little side characters. She has a cat named Spudge and her penguin Pete. He is her imaginary friend, and he's part of the story. He is, he comes to her in a nightmare and basically says he can't come to visit because there's no snow, and he and his cousin can't do their ice fishing without snow. So he has to go to the Antarctic for the winter. Even though it's going to be summer there's still more snow than in Finland. So Topy's very disappointed. So I was kind of kicking myself that I didn't include those two characters here. I love the characters that I made for them, both Spudge and Pete. But yeah, you guys will be able to see those characters when I hopefully post my book on Amazon fairly soon. But for now here, I had to try and convey the effect that it was actually winter already. And so there's snow on the ground, a little bit there in the bush as well. And then, to make it more obvious, she's in winter gear, fully decked out. And then she has her skis, and she's going to go cross-country skiing. But suddenly, very uncharacteristic for the time of year, let's say January, February, it starts to rain. Not snow, it's rain. And a quite warm rain to boot, so the snow around her will start to melt. And that for Topy is very worrying. you know, because that's uncharacteristic for winter, and she doesn't at all want that. That's fall weather. So it's wrong, and that's an effect that's been created by climate change. So I just thought that it was a cute idea and it worked, and it just immediately came to me with this one, and I drew it up in a matter of a few minutes, really, but probably about an hour tops. I went through different ideas of how to draw it, different layouts, and they were all kind of cute, but then in the end, this actually was a bit of a mistake, the way that I drew this. I had drawn her too large on the page so that her legs wouldn't have fit down the bottom if she was already standing on the skis. So I had to basically make do and put her kneeling as though she's about to put her skis on the ground and get going. Still worked out just fine. It gave it a bit more character, and it, you know, I think it looks good. I think it looks fine. And yeah, so here I am now using my Promarkers from Winsor & Newton. I have a very set color palette for her, lilacs and pinks and purples, and so yeah, I just like that on her. I just thought it worked well, because I'm not usually very good with my color palettes in that sense, and that I don't nail it on the head the first time around, but with her, for some reason, it just worked. And that's why I'm very, very proud of this character. Same with Lucy, my other character from her own story, but very, very much so with Topy. She's basically been my first successful character that I'm really proud of, other than my penguins that I used to do when I was a bit younger. But anyway, so that's basically the idea behind this one. I'm going to be finishing up here soon. I will be using my white gel pen again to create the rain and to give basically the sleek effect, the wet looking effect on her clothing. And then that will round it out nicely. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a little bit longer because I was actually proud of this one, that I didn't just rush through and make something really terrible. And yeah, I think this is one that I can really put into the archives as a success. So I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And if you're interested in Topy's book, just let me know and I will let you know when it's up on Amazon. But that's it for this week's prompt, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it and stuck with me this far. And I will see you guys for next week's prompt. Alright guys, have a wonderful summer. Bye!